On today's Chasing the Game, we've got Lake baseball head coach Casey Witt. We talk about the Flyer season, his journey to becoming head coach, and look ahead to the state tournament. Chasing the Game starts right now. All right, welcome into Chasing the Game. Lake baseball head coach Casey Witt is here. Casey, thank you so much for coming in and doing this. Really appreciate it. What's the energy like in the dugout right now? You guys are 18-5. I think you're doing pretty well in conference. What's the energy like?
Yeah, it's really good. It's one of those things that you want to be peaking at this time of the year, and we've got a lot of kids that are excited to enter the state tournament, and a lot of guys that are starting to really play well, and I'm excited to see where things go the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, you guys won the conference last year. I think you're in third place right now. I know there's a few conference games left, but it's pretty much kind of set. What has this kind of conference season been like for you guys? Obviously, it's got to be really competitive, right?
Yeah, we play the NBC's, I think, a really good conference when you're talking smaller schools. And, day in and day out, we get really good competition, and we know that we're going to see really quality pitching. And so it's a grind every day. It's a battle every day. And as a coach, that's really fun.
Yeah, this is your fourth season now leading. What's it kind of like in your fourth season now? Do you feel like you're kind of like into a groove now in the fourth season?
Yeah, I think that, you go those first two seasons, 2 or 3 seasons, and you're really tiptoeing around, kind of trying to create that foundation and culture that you want to leave on the program. And now, guys have played in our program for a few years, and they understand the expectation. Our coaches understand what we're trying to do, and it makes it, in a way, a little bit easier and probably a little bit more fun because you can really get down into the nuts and bolts of baseball now.
Yeah. What was that like taking over for a program that was led by Coach Wilker, Greg Wilker, for a long time? Did you feel like you needed to change a whole lot?
So the short answer is no. Obviously, I played and coached under Coach Wilker. I lived in the Lake community my entire life, so it was very near and dear to my heart. I didn't want to change it as much as I just wanted to put my stamp on it as we move into the future.
Yeah. Did you feel that kind of pressure to succeed? I mean, I bet that would be there with any coach, but the fact that you're taking over for a guy that you played under and Lake kind of has this tradition as being this good baseball school.
I didn't feel that pressure. I think that it was more of a sense of pride, and wanting to go and continue that tradition and to make the community proud, because our community is really proud of our baseball program, and I wanted to, be a key part in continuing that.
Yeah, what is the Lake community like for the people who don't know? I mean, it's not super big, but it's very tight-knit.
Yeah, it's really tight-knit. You've got Walbridge, you've got Millbury, you've got Moline, and a couple portions of Northwood, and everybody kind of knows everybody, and everybody kind of is involved in everything, and the school is the center of all of that involvement.
Yeah, I want to ask you about the tornado. Obviously, you were in school when it happened. You're a 2011 graduate, so that tornado comes in 2010. What was that time like? What do you remember about that?
I remember chaos. I remember at home, my dad was a superintendent, so it was a lot of early mornings and long nights. It was a lot of going and helping people in the community that you might know and you might not know. And I remember that senior year, there was a closeness in our school because of that event that I think was different than it had been up to that point.
Yeah, we have a package here, and we'll play it in a second. We went back into the archives for this. This is from 2010. Let's take a look at this. This is, and I'm glad we talked about the tornado beforehand. So with that in mind, we'll take a look at this package here.
It just kind of gets me away from things, and it's fun to spend time with your friends.
The Lake High School golfers hit the links together this morning, a small diversion from what they've been going through.
It's just fun being outdoors, and you don't have to it's just fun.
Something they need, considering one of them lost their father in the tornado, and others lost everything they had. Most of the team's clubs that were at the school were also blown away.
After the storm, the Tuesday after, we had our first golf workout, and we had a couple of the kids who lost everything in the storm showed up with nothing.
That's when Lake's varsity golf coach Terry Tanzel called the PGA. Within hours, Titleist, Nike, and TaylorMade provided the team with new clubs, bags, and shoes. They also got free practice rounds at several PGA courses and tickets to the Jamie Farr.
It means a lot, actually, because it just tells me that there's people out there that actually care. Like,
they care about us and stuff.
It means a ton. I mean, it just shows how caring and giving the golf community really is. And they didn't have to do that.
Coach Tanzel didn't expect this kind of response either.
People have really stepped up and taken care of our kids, and it's great to see that. I mean, it doesn't happen every day, and it's sure these kids deserve it.
It gets better. The team will be at the Bridgestone Invitational in August, where they'll be up close and personal with the pros.
I would love to meet Tiger, but I mean, I don't know how that'll go.
Sometimes you get what you least expect. In Bowling Green, Joe Stahl, News 11.
And so I hope that wasn't too weird, kind of seeing yourself
No,
on TV from
no.
15 years ago. What was that like, kind of looking back? Did you remember that package?
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember it on TV as much, but I remember what the PGA did for our golf program, and just really how a lot of businesses and places from all over came together and really supported us during that tough time.
Yeah. Did you end up meeting Tiger at all?
No. I mean, I watched him play, but no dice on meeting him.
So after school, you graduated. How soon did you get back into coaching with Lake? I mean, was it you were still in college? Like, how quickly did you get back into it?
Yeah, so I spent a year coaching Acme baseball out of Swanton with a friend, and then it would have been probably my sophomore year of college. Coach Wilker called me, said, "Hey, we've got enough guys for a freshman team. Would you be interested in coming and being our freshman coach?" And it was something that, you know, I knew I wanted to do. Both of my brothers played in the program, so I was going to be around anyways, and I jumped at the opportunity and have never really looked back.
Yeah. Did you know? I mean, I think you always knew. But was there a point when you realized, like, I want to be the coach at Lake? You know, the head coach for Lake baseball?
Yeah. I mean, I always talk about, you know, when I was in middle school, I was pretty sure I wanted to be a teacher. And then you kind of start thinking about, you know, what's your dream job? And I never had a dream teaching job. But my dream coaching job was always to be the head baseball coach at Lake High School. Like I said, the program meant so much to me, and we're a baseball family growing up. So to then go and, you know, hopefully give back and to lead that program myself, it was always that pipe dream that 4 years ago came true.
Yeah, we were talking earlier. You said those first two seasons, you know, you're kind of feeling things out. Mm-hmm. Was there a moment, either last season or maybe even this season, there a point where you realized, like, oh, like I've kind of things are clicking for me, like as a coach? Like maybe the team isn't necessarily clicking, but you're kind of figuring things out as a coach.
I don't think there's something I can really point to. You know, one thing that I try to do after every season is really go back and reflect on what we did well as a team, what we did poorly, what I did well as a coach, what I did poorly. So I don't know that there's a moment I can really like point to, but I'll tell you that year 3 was way better than year 2, right? Year 2 was better than year 1. So it's the positive growth, you know, that I guess I look back on and I'm like, okay, we're trending in the right direction.
Yeah, you and the other guys, you know, the assistants, all like Lake guys. Does that kind of speak again to like what a, you know, small but tight-knit community that Lake is, that it's all these guys with Lake connections?
Yeah, I think so. I think that it also shows, you know, all of these guys that are on my staff, I have some connection to in terms of growing up with, or I've known for a while, you know, in our community. And I think that the fact that they want to come back and help speaks to the level of pride that we have in our program. And it also speaks to, you know, then the trust that I can have in those guys in the dugout.
Yeah, Drew Tablik is a guy who gets a ton of attention.
Sure.
We always talk about him. What's it like having a guy like that on your roster?
Well, he's kind of an eraser, right? Because he can make the bad things right. You know, it's awesome to coach somebody that athletic. It's awesome to coach somebody that loves baseball as much as he does. And it's been awesome. You know, my first year was his freshman year, so to kind of grow with Drew has been a lot of fun.
Did you know that he was going to be the guy that he is now, or what he's going to be? He's going on to college.
We thought he had a chance to be really, really good as a freshman. You know, to project him to be as good as he's been and is currently, I'd probably be lying if I told you that I foresaw that. We thought he had a chance to be really good, but you know, a growth spurt, a little bit of work in the weight room, and all of a sudden he's exceeded, I think, everybody's expectations.
Yeah, pitcher of the year last year,
Yep.
Shortstop of the year this year, essentially, you know, first team All NBC. What does that say about him and his versatility as a player? That great pitcher, great shortstop, and you and I were talking about it before. He might not even play either of those positions in college. He might be outfield for all we know.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the conversation I've had with Drew of like, you're super gifted, you know. Be open-minded going to the next level because, right, you are what I would deem an elite high school pitcher that I think could pitch at the next level. You're being recruited as a shortstop, but you have elite, 6'5", 60 speed that you could go run balls down in the outfield at the Division I level. And I think, versatility is probably the best word to describe Drew, because he can do it all, and he can do it all well, and he doesn't even know how well he's doing it all. That's how much of a freak athlete I think he is.
You played shortstop in high school. Did he remind you at all in the early years? Has he kind of exceeded what you kind of, the image you had of yourself as a shortstop?
Oh, man, I've never even tried to make that comparison. Never even tried to make that comparison.
He's going on to UT, as we said.
Yep.
They actually just beat Bowling Green, so they're doing very well. Do you see a bright future with him at Toledo? Do you imagine that they'll probably be in contention for some MAC titles too?
I mean, I hope so, being a Toledo grad, right?
Yeah.
But I think Drew's got a chance to do a lot of really good things at the next level. And that's kind of been the cool thing this year, is now that he's already committed, him and I can talk through some situations about what we want to do with Lake Baseball's program, but how does this impact you at the next level, and how can we make it better for you at the next level? And that's been a really cool new challenge for me as a coach.
Yeah. So at the time we're recording this, a bunch of games have been delayed, postponed, whether it's high school, college. You and I have been trying to figure out a time to do this because of all the games getting pushed back. Is it frustrating as a coach just seeing all these games get pushed around and stuff, or is that just part of the job?
The answer to both questions is yes. Being in Northwest Ohio, you understand weather is going to impact games at some point. It doesn't make it any less frustrating when it does, but it's also one of those things that, the conversation I had with my assistants today is everybody in the area is dealing with this. This isn't just a lake issue. So that helps kind of ease frustrations at times.
Yeah. What's it like trying to cram all those games in at the end of the season? I think there was like a 5-day stretch here. You guys played like 4 games, or like a 9-day stretch. You played 6 games or something like that. What's that like trying to do a bunch of games back to back like that?
You've got to be hyper organized. You have to do a great job in throwing strikes. You got to do a great job in recovering after games and in between games on days off. And you've got to find that fine line of, pushing guys, to the brink, but also not wearing them out, so they can go compete, but also not wear themselves out.
Yeah. Are they ready for postseason baseball at this point? Are they just kind of coming to you like, Coach, like we're just ready to get into the tournament?
Yeah, I think now it's just kind of that chomping at the bit thing. We've got a group that loves to compete, so you start talking tournament, and then the opportunity to compete comes up, and our guys they're ready to roll.
Yeah. You guys made it to the state final last year in D3. You're a year removed now. What do you make of that run? What do you kind of look back on it and think?
Well, I think that there's a lot of things, right? I think one, to be able to enjoy those extra few weeks with our coaches, with our kids was really special. To be able to do something that no other team has done in Lake High School history and make it to a state title game, that's really special. And I think as a way of kind of energizing our program from the perspective of youth baseball, and seeing all those young kids there at the playoff games and the state tournament games, that's really cool when you talk about the future of our program.
I know a lot of coaches I talk to, they talk about the importance of having, like a solid youth program, make sure that you have connections, relationships with the kids that are coming up really young.
Yep.
Is that something that you guys have really emphasized that you're working on in your program?
I mean, I think that the structure's always been there. I can't speak to what the relationship was like prior to me, but it's one thing that we try to get out to, my wife and I, and my coaches and I. We try to get out to as many youth games as we can, in the summer, and just show our face, because I think that connection is really important. We don't want to reinvent the wheel. The youth association does a great job in our community. I don't want to go mess with that, but I want the kids to know, hey, like I'm interested in seeing what you guys are doing in the summer when you're playing baseball.
Yeah. New divisions this year.
Yep.
Baseball has expanded from, I think, 4 to 7 now. You guys were in 3 last year. You're in 4 this year. What do you make of that move? Just what do you, I guess, make of all the new divisions in general? Do you feel like that kind of helps teams with their chances of making a deeper run?
I think it can, right? I think through the lens of, again, Northwest Ohio, I think it's going to really help showcase some of the really good baseball that we've got in the area. Because there's more games to be played. I think that it's going to help some teams that might get lost in the shuffle in 4 divisions, be able to make deeper playoff runs, absolutely. So it's going to be interesting to see. I don't know that any of us really know how the next couple of years are going to work out with it, but I think it's here to stay, so I think we better just get used to it.
You guys think you have a better case? You think it helps your case, I think, to make a deep run again?
I mean, yes and no. I think that, it's all based on how do you pitch the ball? And I think we've got 2 really good pitchers right now that can get outs. So I think that, I like where we stand moving forward. To say that I like it better in D4 versus D5 or D5 versus D6, it's relatively negligible. We still got to go out and throw strikes and make plays.
Yeah. Any parting thoughts about this team and their chances of making another deep run? I know that's probably just the question in the locker room and around the community.
Yeah, I mean, I think that this team's unique because a lot of people see on paper that we've got 8 guys back from last year's team and we're pretty veteran laden, and that's true. But we're a good mix of youth and older guys. We start 2 freshmen and 2 sophomores. So it's been really fun for the older guys to kind of lead those young guys along. And now those young guys, they've played a whole year of varsity baseball. Like, they're essentially a year older. So I think that, we're going to do the same thing that we do every game, or at least we try to do every game. It's a pretty simple baseball formula. Throw strikes, make routine plays, right, and go and just have a good approach at the plate and know what we want to do. We try not to overcomplicate baseball. It's a simple game if you allow it to be. So we'll see. We're going to go compete, and I promise you that. And we'll see if we can't rekindle a little bit of magic.
Absolutely. All right, you guys have Rossford coming up.
Yep.
Hopefully on Friday. We're recording this on a Thursday.
Yep.
Hopefully no more rain delays for your guys' sake. So again, Coach, appreciate the time so much. This is awesome.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Glad to be here. All right, that's going to do it for this episode of Chasing the Game. Be sure to check out our other episodes on the WTOL 11 Plus app. You can also check us out on YouTube and on Spotify. And we'll see you guys next time.